Tonight on The Cosmic Forest, we are joined by a special guest star to talk about the artist, Jan Duursema. Welcome to Leaner, Meaner, episode 27 of The Cosmic Forest. I'm one of your hosts, Caleb Lamnack, filling in for both Tyler and Emma, but thankfully we still have the man with the plans, Jacob Bosch. Jacob, how are you doing today?
I'm alive. I don't know about plan. I just show up. I have the nice computer. That's really all I'm here for. So, but no, it's good. We're gonna talk about some great, a legend, a pillar of the Star Wars comics community. And then also we have a pillar of the Youtini community with us, and that is Jared Mays.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Are you telling me that I didn't have to assassinate Emma and Tyler in a Sith duel to the death, only the strong can survive thing in order to be on the show?
I have not.
Wasn't what had to happen?
I have not seen them alive today, so to be fair, we'll see.
I did have to argue with Freddie quite vehemently over who got the guest spot. We went back and forth and back and forth. I saw you're here with us in the chat. What's up, Freddie? But I'm glad I won. I'm happy to be here.
To do some rock, paper, scissors here. So if you're joining us for the very first time, welcome. We are a Star Wars comic podcast that broadcasts live right here on youtube.com/Youtini every Wednesday night. If you can't join us live, that is A-OK. We are available from all your favorite podcast streaming platforms. We are also a part of the Youtini podcast network of nearly a dozen shows and a Discord channel of over 1,000 members at youtini.com/Discord. If you like what you see and want to say thanks, then head over to our Patreon channel at patreon.com/Youtini, where for as little as $5 a month, you can get exclusive access to the entire Youtini podcast network of shows, as well as exclusive merch and community involvement. We are happy to announce that the podcast feed is now up to date. So for our audio listeners, you can check out that at their leisure. Huge thanks to you, to our very own Timothy, for that assistance there. So without that, let's get on to the main show. And it looks like my video has
very frozen. Yes.
But it was a beautiful smile that it froze on.
Yeah.
There was worse.
You honestly got very lucky where it chose to freeze, but but it's fine. That is the joys of live production. So you know what, we'll go from there while Caleb is getting unfrozen into our weekly poll list. We got a few nice comics coming out this week. We have the High Republic number 10, Out of Balance, Out of Time, written by Kevin Scott, with pencils by George Genty, covered by Phil Noto. The inker is Carl Story. The colorist is Carlos Lopez, and the letterer is Travis Lanham. We have Star Wars Adventures number 11, written by Kevin Scott and Ann Toole. Pencils by Manuel Bracci and Nick Brokenshire. And then the cover is by Francesco Francavilla. And then we have Ghost of Vader's Castle number 5, The Evil End. That's by Kevin Scott, with the pencils and the cover by Francesco Francavilla, and the letterer is Sean Lee. If you'd like to pick up those for yourself, you can head on over to the YouTube description and pick up your own copy from Comixology. So a lot of fun issues. I have only read the High Republic number 10, but that was pretty good, if I do say so myself. Yeah.
Whoa, what an issue.
I mean, a little bit of an understatement, but yeah.
If you're not caught up with everything else that's kind of going around, there's a lot going on in that sort of thing, but I think this will pay dividends, for years down in what's happening in the area. Plus, we got to see, like some new characters are introduced. I feel like that's, at least in comic form, I feel like that's with every single issue so far, but it's really kicking into high gear, and I don't see them stepping on the brakes anytime soon.
You guys do spoilers, right? I can spoil it? All right. So, would you believe it? I won't do that. All right, everybody, you got time to get caught up. I won't spoil it, but I did see some online discourse about this, and I don't always get to the canon. I'm a Legends guy. I don't always get to the canon comics like day of. Sometimes it's like 3 days later. Sometimes it's 3 weeks later. Sometimes it's 3 months. I'm really behind on the Ghosts of Vader's Castle, but there's a lot of Vader's Castle comics.
There are many Vader's castles. Yes.
I don't remember which castle I'm in, but I think it's Vader's.
Ghosts is the one that just came out. There was Tales from and Shadows of, I believe. Okay. I think are the other two. Don't ask me which order they come out in.
I'm behind on those, but with the High Republic, I saw some people lighting up about it. They were like, "Could you believe this thing?" And I was like, "I don't know." So I'm gonna read it, and I did, and I did not regret it.
Absolutely. So no, it's an exciting time. We got a couple more issues that we'll talk about next week, but let's move on a little bit to what we're loving. So we're going to be mixing up the kind of art of the week here. I think we decided we're going to, if we have a guest star, we're going to do a little bit of hazing and make them submit an art of the week and just kind of focus on that. So Jared, what did you pick for us?
All right. I am thrilled that I get a spotlight to talk about this because I have never talked about this issue on the entire history of Legends Look Back. This is, without a doubt, one of my very favorite comics covers of all time. This is the cover to Star Wars number 44 with art by, you guessed it, Jan Duursema and Doug McKaig. So there's actually, 2 cover artists here. We're going to give the credit to Duursema, at least for tonight, because this is the Duursema spotlight. This might be the very first Star Wars comic I ever bought. I don't know for sure. I remember being at a grocery store in my small town in Oklahoma. I always checked the books aisle because, you never know. Sometimes there'd be a new Jedi Order book, and I'd get it. Wouldn't read it till 20 years later, but I got it. This particular fateful day, they had Star Wars comics at my grocery store, and I got this bad boy. It has Quinlan Vos and Ayla Secura looking ready for action with the green and blue sabers. What I didn't notice until I was looking over this thing is there's two heads in the background.
I think they're Nikito. Yeah.
What'd you call him?
Nikito.
Yeah. Okay. So there's heads.
Yeah.
And they kind of scared me as I was inspecting this so I could talk about it. In classic Duursema style, you get some flowing robes, flowing hair, lightsabers are popping. Let me know in the Discord, as you look at this art, is this the greatest Star Wars comic cover ever? Because I think it might be. It might just be. But there's a Legends pick for you.
It's certainly dynamic, and there's a lot of really good. Yes, I was about to say, if you hadn't pointed out the heads there, I probably wouldn't have. And these are 2 of her most famous creations, right? For more appropriate term.
Yeah, or I guess her original characters or characters she helped co-create.
At least co-creation with John Ostrander, right?
And this is the Star Wars series that eventually they just renamed into Star Wars Republic, but kept a numbering going on.
Yeah, that's confusing. Perfect Star Wars style, very confusing. And don't think about it too hard, or your brain will break. Just like Quinlan Voss's light side, because he goes back and forth, light and dark, and keeps you on your toes. Whew. They actually, this art is repurposed in all kinds of Legends art. It's repurposed in trade paperback covers, omnibus covers. They'll take the images of the 2 characters and put it on different backgrounds. So just play pin the tail on the donkey with what you can stick this thing on. Just we need a cover, stick that Duursema, Ayla Secura and Quinlan Vos art on there. That'll do. And what you got, Caleb?
Absolutely. Well, this one is from our community spotlight. This one, week's winner is Moonflyer / Dave. His community art was from Target Vader number 44. A large splash page. Almost could have been a comic cover. It looks like they have the exact same background from our last bit of art here with the gray and dusty background. But this one was from Target Vader. This was just a really fun splash page of the titular character Vader just staring down, lightsaber ignited, just a really classic sort of power pose here. So
gorgeous.
As weird as it sounds, we're not done with Vader yet, and we cannot wait to see even more Vader artwork down the line. So hit us up on our Discord. The art from this one was from Nick Klein and colors by Federico Blee. So with that out of the way, and kind of art, what's everyone been reading? It says here that Jacob, you have some acquisitions to share with us.
Acquisitions.
In honor of our Legends Lookback buddy over here, and honestly my favorite Youtini thing ever, which is Thracken's thrift store. Is that what you're calling again, or?
You got it right.
Yeah.
We thought about changing it, but then we didn't.
Yeah.
I want to get like some really good flashy like clip art that dances like Clippy, the Microsoft Word helper. Like Thrackan Sal Solo himself with like a Santa sack. We're working on it. It's not there yet.
Work in progress. Yeah. So I was, at my comic book store. It's today. It's a Wednesday, as you do. So I get my High Republic number 10. And while I was there, I was just like kind of peruse the Star Wars section, just to see, because you never know. And it was very worth it for me to head over there today because I got something pretty cool. That is, I got the first 5 issues of Charles Soule's Darth Vader, all first printings for $10. The first 5 issues for $10, which I'm like, all right. I mean, like, I can't turn that down. Like, what? Like, yeah, no. So yeah, that was definitely worth my time. And
that run has been hard to find in the aftermarket.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wasn't. I was not collecting, nor was I really reading comics back then, or Star Wars comics back then. And I'm not going to be someone that's really chasing after the whole run or anything like that. I mean, it's very good, but it's not like one I need to have in my collection. But when you see the first 5 issues for $10, I mean, you kind of just have to do it. So
exactly. We spent an entire episode last time talking about comic collecting. So gotta fill those long boys up, right?
Yeah.
You call it long boys?
Long boys, long boxes, long
boxes,
boys.
I like long boys. Let's go with long boys.
Yeah, we got was it hot dog Boba Fett's? We got long boys.
That's right.
All right, and just I started reading something a little bit apropos. I figured it might be a little fun. I started reading the canon novel Dark Disciple featuring Quinlan Vos and not Aayla Secura, but
Asajj Ventress.
Asajj Ventress. They both start with A, so I was like having that moment. I was like,
we'll talk about her a little later.
I see her right here. But yeah, I decided, let's see how another calf writer takes charge of Quinlan Vos, and I'm maybe about a third of the way through. It's going really well. I enjoyed a lot. So with that out of the way, let's now we've paid our tithes, paid our taxes. Let's get into the ad and get right into the spotlight after this.
Lightsaber lamp, and I just like I just knocked over everything in my office so I could get this into the camera shot. I knocked one of the posters off the wall.
Anderson cover. I have heard the Anderson cover described by some friends of mine as one of their least favorite Legends covers, and I don't totally know why. Maybe it's just because Depa Billaba has this dead stare in the background.
You know what it is?
Emma, what is your art of the week this week?
Yeah, so I don't have anything as dark and depressing as that corpse, but
I'll start out. Hey, so now that we are in the main part of the show, let's talk about the lady of tonight. It's Jan Duursema. She's, for lack of a better term, probably the most iconic Legends artist that we have. So we just want to take some time to really deep dive into her history, what she's done for the media, and how she's like really influenced a lot. So Jared, you probably know more about her than anyone else here on the show. So why don't you talk a little bit about her history here, where she started, what were her highlight years?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I probably bought that issue in that grocery store in like 2004. Yeah, I'm trying to think about the timeline. Does that add up? I think so. I mean, it could have been a 02 or 03. I mean, I've been reading Duursema and Ostrander Star Wars comics for like half my life. And I had no idea until we were doing research for this show just how ingrained she is with Star Wars comics in a broader sense as well. I had no idea. In fact, Jan Duursema first worked on the Star Wars 1977 run, what Freddie and I on Legends Lookback call the old school Marvel run, right? she actually penciled issue number 92 all the way back in 1985. Did you guys know this before researching for this episode?
Nope.
Not before researching. No, I managed to find the copy online and read through it a few times, and like it feels like you can definitely tell there's some Jan Duursema here, but it's not like her style did definitely change, into like 20 years in between her stints there.
I mean, it's very much
comics.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
it's very much a product of the era. She has evolved along with comic books in the past 40 years now. So
Right.
this is what all comics
comics
look back
art
then.
has changed tremendously from the 90s into the early mid 2000s. Especially what was this 85? Man, that's amazing. For our audio listeners who do have a picture of some of this, I'll tell you this much: there is no better looking hair in that entire 90s Marvel run. I mean, Duursema could do some amazing hair. You ever try to draw hair? It's hard. She's good at it. All right, so there's my review. Good at hair. There's more to
Good
come.
at hair.
I'm also going to say later, good at jumping. Just wait for it. So this is a post-Return of the Jedi issue with a self-contained story, so it works well to bring in a guest artist, which is always fun. Cool to see how an artist will take off from there. She is, of course, most famous for her work in Star Wars Republic from 2000 to 2006, which, of course, we've already said was first Star Wars, and then it was Republic. And so the story of Quinlan Vos and Ayla Secura in particular carries over from one series into the next. Don't get too caught up on the names. Marvel Unlimited and Comixology makes it quite clear. You get to the end of one and it's fairly easy to find. I'm not going to give you any guarantees, but you can do it. I believe in you. And this has some really dark and moody plot twists, really great characterization along the way. Absolutely one of my very favorite Star Wars comics ever made. Really goes in depth, so many different story arcs with both Quinlan Vos and Ayla Secura, and there'll be a story arc with them, and then it'll go to a story arc with Anakin and Obi-Wan, and then back to them, and then Asajj Ventress for a little while, so you don't just get stuck in the same story with the same characters. And just when you're like, I wonder what happened to them, boom, they're back. It's excellent. Most famous for that particular run, 2000 to 2006. This Clone Wars era series. She also worked on the Legacy comics, which I think are actually definitely my very favorite Star Wars comics. But there's quite a bit of baggage. You got to know some Legends history to really get the payoff on this thing. This has got Darth Krayt and Darth Talon and Cade Skywalker. Oh my goodness. I've actually got some action figures from this thing. You mean to pull them out? No, maybe later.
In a bit. I was about to say after the ad break, but we already did it. So
yeah, it's too late. Okay. This was set 125 years into the future after Return of the Jedi, or is it 120 years after the original trilogy? 100 years after the books that were being written, the Legacy books. Anyway, don't check my math. Just trust me. It's 100 years.
Legacy was 45 ABY or something like that. So
okay, sounds right. I'm not the timeline guy.
Yeah,
That's
no.
So it wasn't a couple of generations later. So, but
Yes.
not grandparents, but at least great grandparents.
Right. It's like the High Republic, but on the other end.
Yeah.
After the films.
Does Legacy have a Marvel omnibus like KOTOR got, or the Old Republic got recently? Do you know that?
Not one big hardcover with all of them in it.
Okay.
Though, it's gonna come.
If it happens, that's probably there. As much as we love Legends comics, even though I have not read very many of them, that would be one that I'd probably pick up.
Ooh, I'm drooling just thinking about it. Oh my goodness. It's been collected in quite a few different formats. I've got them all in Comixology Kindle. It's 10 graphic novels, I believe. It's 10 separate trade paperbacks. Are they trade paperbacks if you collect them digitally?
Yeah, trade digital backs. I don't know. There's 50 issues in the main part of it, so that's
right.
Basically the same as the Old Republic. So
yeah, and Mike says that Legacy has 3 epic collections, with the 4th coming out next year.
There you go.
So I leave it to Mike, as always, to save the day. Appreciate that. This was published from 2006 to 2011. And then finally, also worked, notice how many huge series she worked on for years and years and years. So, basically worked with the Dark Horse flagship Marvel Comics, the entirety of nearly the entirety of their run. So worked on the Dawn of the Jedi series. Caleb, I heard you were reading this recently.
I kind of
last week's show.
Skipped through it. I was reading it. I was going for the artwork mainly. So it's interesting. We're kind of speed reading a thing because it can still get so much like plot and context just through the body language and how they map and like put the characters on the panel. So like even if you're like reading every like third word, you can still really get the idea of it. I kind of want to go back and read this, but I think I can't put it on the back burner because I think well, let's just go ahead and bury the lead here. I think I would like to read the Republic eras, like that early 2000s era comic first. I read some of those. I'm like, and you're right, there's a lot of like dark things going on here, and like, you know, slavery, like a lot of death. Like it was a really deep sort of comic series, and I will really want to like read a lot more into that and see about what was happening here. But the Dawn of the Jedi was definitely a very interesting thing, like how she went in the future with the Legacy series. They went way into the past, and there's not even Jedi, it's what, Jedi or something.
Yeah, Jedi, right?
There's an apostrophe
Jedi
in there.
Yeah, in classic Legends style, you gotta throw some apostrophes in there, man. It's great. It is weird. It's unfinished. They never got to complete the Dawn of the Jedi initiative, big, massive multimedia storytelling initiative. There's a book, only one book. There was supposed to be more, if I've got my facts straight. The comics, they did some, but
there's like three kind of arcs.
Yeah, there's like all like, because I actually have one behind me, because they're all like just like
Ooh,
five or six. Yeah. This is was it Prisoner of Bogan issue 1? So there's like 3 or 4 different.
There were 3
like,
arcs, so that was that's arc number 2, issue 1.
But they're not like it's not like one series. It's all like different like imprints or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We even covered a recent Dawn of the Jedi short story on an episode of Legends Lookback from that Star Wars Insider Fiction Collection Volume 1. So, you know, it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It even has an audiobook. Yeah, there's a lot to cover there. It's different. It's bizarre. It's Legacy is set way out in the future. This is set way in the past. So it's specifically what, 1,000 years, 10,000 years?
It's like 30. No, it's 30,000.
30,000 years before the films. The cool thing is like their lightsabers are attached to backpacks. They're proto sabers because like gotta have a battery. Mm-hmm. So they lug them on their backs. Like some of the time, I think eventually it develops in that series.
Yeah, like you have to like channel your force through to actually power it, you know.
I think it's so cool that both her and Ostrander came together and basically bookended the Legends timeline. Like you have 30,000 BBY, and then I looked it up. It's like 100. I think it's 130.
137.
Yeah, 130, 137 or whatever for Legacy. So
I love that. Love some good bookending, some parallelism, and I would say for me personally, I would put Legacy and then Republic, and then Dawn of the Jedi. Out of the 3 main flagship series she's done, had to read that Marvel 77 number 92. See where that fits in among all of it. I've got a feeling it's at the bottom, but you know that's just me.
It was definitely fit in with that run perfectly.
Great, wonderful, positive way to say it. Now we've talked about the 3 major contributions. We, of course, have to give a shout out as we're talking about her art style in this comics art spotlight. Also to the storyteller, John Ostrander, her partner in crime on almost all of these. This, of course, isn't totally comprehensive on everything about Duursema. She worked on like the original Darth Maul Dark Horse series, I think was her first Dark Horse comic. Some great art for that as well. But these are the 3 major contributions. Also have to give a shout out to John Ostrander, a force to be reckoned with in the Legends storytelling world. I gave my ranking. So about you guys, you have her favorite works out of all the best series that she's done out of what you've scoped out so far?
Huge grain of salt. I haven't read all of these. I liked what they were doing with the Republic, with Star Wars Republic a lot more. Dawn of the Jedi was definitely very interesting. I read a couple issues of Legacy. It did seem a little like 2000 edgy, sort of like they were trying very hard to be cool, and that's with a Koll.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you mean Cade Skywalker doing drugs? He's a spice addict.
Want to buy some death sticks? Why, yes, I do.
He does not want to go home and rethink his life. That's right. He's happy the way it is. Old ghost Luke Skywalker can just leave me alone. Let me have my drugs, and I don't want any part in this huge force war. But oh man, we've got some good stories. I might just like leave the show right now and go read those comics. I love them so much.
All
right. Now, what's amazing is she's come back. Wait, did you want to weigh in on this one, Jake?
No, I was gonna make a joke. No, we can go on.
We have
She's
no
also-
time for jokes here.
Also done a few recent modern canon comics covers. I have one variant edition of High Republic #4. I had to sort through my massive stack of like 30 Star Wars High Republic variant covers I've got over there. That variant cover collecting craze really had me going there for a while. And so look how swoopy this is. So swoopy. The
Looks like she's
jumping and
jumping there, yeah.
You got the jumping and the
lightsabers are
hair.
so dynamic. The hair, it's just floating, and she's on like a Dringir tentacle that's severed. Oh man, I love this. Has also done what else? Issues 3, 4, 11, and Life Day special. What the heck is this? What is the Life Day special?
Is that even out yet?
No, it's not. Yeah, it has a few writers on it. It's gonna be like I think like an anthology issue. It has like Kevin Scott. Oh shoot, who was the person that wrote the was supposed to write the Rise of Skywalker comic adaptation?
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll look it up in a second. But yeah, I think Justina Ireland's on there. So there, a bunch of like different authors, I think, telling like short stories in an anthology type manner. And she got a pretty cool cover with Leia. Although I have seen people call it the Milk Mustache Leia cover because of how it's lit, and I can never unsee that now. Oh, Jody Hauser, Mike's got my back. Was the author I was trying to think of.
For saying she's also doing a variant cover for issue 11 as well. He calls it the creepy Lorna cover, so I have to check that out.
It's
that Life Day cover is odd in the sense that I would associate Duursema's style with very dynamic, very action-packed, and so very rarely is there a static character.
Leia's not jumping.
Leia's not jumping. That's the problem. It's not the Milk Mustache. It's that she's not jumping. Oh, Caleb, let's talk more about her style.
Absolutely.
I talked about the hair.
Yeah, that's really all there is to it. That's the end of the segment. Well, let's talk around a little bit. Let's get some more detail into her. Like her style, like definitely like it's not something that you would immediately see. You could see like a couple panels and think like, oh, she's just like a normally good artist. But when you start reading a lot more books, you start seeing like a lot more of her like skills come through. So let's talk a little bit about, I got some bullet points here. Like as you talked about hair and jumping, like these are very fun sort of things, but she also does a really good job of like characterization here. Like, we got some good, parts here of like, like the artwork we have on screen shows, I think this is like a deranged, like half mad Force user, and he's trying to take another young apprentice in underneath him. So he's got some really nice, like, like matted dreadlocked hair, angry looking beard, holding up skulls. Like these are like really great sort of like things. And I feel like they have some really, like her characters are the sort of things that really jump to life. So you can take one look at them and really get a good idea about who they are. And that's just like really consistently good, character design.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Speaking of character design, I feel like we talked about, she's most known for like Darth Talon, or co-creating Darth Talon, Quinlan Voss, Ayla Secura. And of course we have the fantastic Ayla Secura story where like George saw her on a comic cover and he's like, I want her to be in my movie now.
Put her in the movies.
Yeah, I was like, you want to put her in Attack of the Clones? But another character, this is the right here, this panel. I think we actually talked about it yesterday, or not yesterday, last week or the week before. Was she?
Time is relative.
Yeah, it all just comes and goes. This is the first appearance of Asajj Ventress anywhere, as before the Tartakovsky Clone Wars series, and this was Jan Duursema's art on the Mace Windu comic back in the day. So another iconic character.
But flowing robes.
Mm-hmm.
Lightsabers are swooshing.
She's kind of jumping like there in the bottom. Yeah.
Right. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I'm not sure I knew that. Crazy. I mean, how many things she's worked on over the years. Obviously, you got the bookends, but also the Clone Wars stuff. So, of course, Asajj Ventress fits into that. Just never clicked for me mentally. That's fantastic. Yeah, I was going to say the lightsabers pop in her style. You talked about the characters, talked about the body language. Capes, also good at capes. So we said robes. Let's not forget capes. Great at capes. See, as is evident in this image, we've got Count Dooku's capes. Looking good. Next to, would you call that a cape or a skirt for Ventress?
It's like a Tunic? I don't know.
I
What
think,
even
like,
what is even
tunic
is a
would be an
tunic?
okay sort of thing, but I think skirt would be the most appropriate sort of word for it.
It's a battle skirt. Obviously.
Yes, a tactical skirt.
But you can definitely
Tactical skirt.
Yeah.
Trademarked.
God. But yeah, I
And
mean,
she's
it's definitely very nice with like how like you see the motion like transferred through the fabric and how that flows. I don't know. I don't describe art well.
I said comic panels are supposed to be like having there's nothing worse than just seeing a bunch of static comic panels, which are just, you could just think of them as like pictures. Comics do a great job of describing and showing motion. So, when a panel shows like a really great progression or like a movement from one spot to another spot, and you can see how the characters are moving, and just you can picture in your mind's eye how they got there and where they're going to go from that. So like Duursema's art makes that a very like seamless process of action to like where you're seeing them right now to the follow through. So like her body language is really strong. Like we have an image up here for Darth Maul running. Boy, like I've seen Darth Maul angry, but he looks really, really angry in this shot right here. Like you can tell that like none of these bar patrons are going to get out of this in one piece, and I mean that literally.
Tattoos look angry. Yeah, they're gonna have to come out of there with spider legs or something. Something's getting chopped to pieces for sure. Yeah, what's amazing is I've described her as really a dynamic, action-packed artist, right? Everything's on the move, everything's jumping, everything's larger than life. But already we've looked at a few static images where Dooku and Ventress are standing, or here Maul is just standing. But when they stand, it really, stands apart because there is so much jumping and swooshing and flowing. When they stand, it's like, whoa, they're just static. But it makes you like take a step back because you expect them to be moving. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all like the way she's able to make him so intimidating in this panel is just very striking. And actually, I have another one after that. Yeah. What another great. This is like it's a mini series. I think it's like Darth Maul, like 2002 or like 2000. So it's obviously
that's the
not
action
gonna.
figure of it. Oh,
yeah,
here
that's from the 4th issue of that book. It's like I was like going through Marvel Unlimited. I was like, I recognize that cover.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
Nice.
so and yeah, I'm sure that art inside the flap is definitely from Duursema from that run, I would believe. But yeah, it doesn't get as much hype because when you compare it to Legacy and Republic and Dawn of the Jedi, a little like small Darth Maul miniseries isn't gonna be talked as much. But yeah, Duursema's definitely had her hands all over the Legends comics era.
Exactly. Plus, this was right after they killed Darth Maul, and we thought he wasn't coming back. So
little did we know.
Yeah, so it's like, hey, let's throw him a comic series.
Also,
Best we can do.
just a little minor thing. We also get a narc chalk one for ugly Palpatine, hiding in the corner there.
He does have clothes on.
What would make him less?
Less like not the ugliest Palpatine though. So I'll have to dock a few points for that.
Yeah, and a nice.
But then again, he was a lot younger here.
A nice clothed Palpatine.
Yeah, you can't draw flowing robes if he's not wearing flowing robes. So he's got to have his robes on and some charisma art. There we go. Absolutely. Yeah, out of his, Maul, I forget that she did Maul so well. I'm loving these images of Maul. I mean, his robes have never looked better.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have a favorite character that she's designed?
Like I'm going to go for the obvious one here. It's Quinlan Voss. I mean, the moment you look at Quinlan Voss, you take like one look at his character design. It is like his hair, his tattoo, his just overall build. You're like, this is a Jedi who's up there with Mace Windu. Like he's the sort of guy who says swear words. Like he's a fun Jedi.
He's like your quintessential gray Jedi of the Legends time period, if you want to go with that, in the sense that he flirts the line between light and dark. Now, I'm going to quibble with your answer there, Caleb. Obviously,
right.
She designs him well. Would you qualify Quinlan Voss as an original character of Duursema?
I haven't done that much research, so I can't really say. Now, I do feel like when I was going through like some of her legacy work, I felt that she has a couple of characters that look an awful lot like him. So she kept drawing like that same character type for a while. Sure,
right. Very muscular. I think he actually gets like a frame in the Phantom Menace. He's like a bar patron.
Oh no, he's in. He's on Tatooine, like where whatever the hut where the little shack where like Jar Jar gets in trouble for eating the little thing. It's like whoopee whoopee, whatever. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Magnet
yeah.
Whoopie whoopie for sure.
But yeah, I
Oh
think
crap, you're right. I see
Yeah.
him. I just did a Google search, and yep, they're sure enough.
apparently it's
But, like,
according to
in terms
Wikipedia,
of-
it's a retcon. But whatever.
In terms of developing the character, Duursema puts in the legwork. Obviously, he's incorporated into Clone Wars with the Jamaican accent, man. And isn't that right? Something goofy.
It's I don't know.
It's a like
been a
Clone
while.
Wars is a little goofy all over, but it's also just a little.
But then Dark Disciple kind of comes back to
Oh boy.
the Dark Horse characterization. So it all works out in the wash. But yeah, technically not a Duursema original-ish, right?
Okay.
How about you, Jacob? Who's your favorite Duursema character?
Well, so I'm a confession. I've basically read almost none of these comics. But from a character design standpoint, this is also technically not a Jan Duursema character, but she designs them how most people are familiar with them, and I'm gonna go with where is he? Oh, too far. Nope, other direction. Darth Crate. Here he almost. Nope, there he is. In the background. Whatever,
Yeah.
it counts.
Dang it, that was my answer.
So yeah, I haven't read all of these, but Corey famously read the last book of Legacy of the Force as his first Star Wars book. I did not do that, but I did something not quite as bad, but still pretty bad, which was I read the whole Legacy of the Force series in order, but I had never read like Knights or New Jedi Order or anything else before that. So like all this crap is going way over my head, but I read the series. I liked it. I'm like, well, then what happens next? So I did what any other like high school, middle school kid would do, and I spent like hours upon hours on Wikipedia.
Oh no,
And
not a good way to get the story.
no, but it gave me a good appreciation for where things went, and it's like I'm someone that likes to see everything through, so of course I'm gonna like see what happens at the end of the timeline, and that's you end up with Legacy comics that way, which is again also confusing for me because it's like, oh, is that like Legacy of the Force? And no, it's not even close. they're two very different things. There's a Skywalker in both of them, but that's
just because it's a legacy doesn't mean it's that legacy. It's a different legacy.
But no, it's a very cool character design, and also shout out to my boy Quart.
Yeah, yeah, it's Quart's grandpa.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess Quart could be Darth Crate's
grandpa. Quart is his great grandfather.
What's interesting is Crate actually has a really well intertwined backstory throughout like all of Legends comics history. It's absurd. We've got a guide to Darth Crate on the site that I wrote like a year or two ago. The reading collection on Darth Crate, and so he comes from like this background character, kind of like ancillary character in the Republic series that Duursema and Ostrander worked on as well. And they like found a way to retcon him in as the villain of this series. I won't spoil anything there, but maybe one of the best crafted Legends characters for my money. Very different design than like the shirtless Twi'leks, that we have.
I was about to say, like a lot of people, I think, like population wise, like most people's favorite would be Darth Talon for very obvious reasons. And as I was saying, like it seems like she like Darth Talon is just like she liked drawing Ayla Secura, so like I'll just do this again. Not to like knock her, like it's a tried and true character design of like the Twilight with the two lightsabers. So but she definitely I think that was like probably her most popular one, because you can still find action figures of some of these characters like around, right?
You can find action figures of anyone, so I don't know if that's really...
They're tough. I've tried to find, like, they made like a Sith collection pack around 2010, 2011 that had like a couple of the KOTOR characters, like Darth Nihilus, and I think Darth Crate is in that pack. And I remember it being at my local, like nerdy store in my hometown, and the college where both Rick and I went. And I remember like looking at this thing for hundreds of hours and never buying it, and now regretting it because it sells for like way over MSRP. They're hard to get these days. But one of my big Legends collecting regrets. It doesn't matter. It's fine.
That's fine.
Absolutely love the way that she does Darth Crate. Well, it does tie into Legacy. It does tie into the Legacy of the Force books. They were written concurrently, so it was supposed to. You don't have to read Fate of the Jedi to get the Legacy comics. You just need to have read Legacy of the Force. which is why it's called Legacy. But yeah, it does get confusing. Let's be honest. I think my pick would be, maybe Darth Maul, the way she draws Maul, his robes, and he's so intimidating. Do you love the way though that he draws Obi-Wan there? Obi-Wan looks kind of got like a mean streak in him. That image that you had up there for a little while, but you gotta love her Maul. Gotta love that for sure. Just because it's OG, I do have the action figure. Oh, that's the wrong one. Move us on, Caleb.
Well, Jacob, do you have anyone to weigh on? You were the one who pulled in all the art. Anything step out to you in a major way?
I talked about Crate. I got.
Oh yeah, you sniped that one. Yeah, you definitely sniped Crate from him. Yeah, and I think, let's face it, I think Duursema has probably. Let's talk about this point. I think she's potentially the most influential artist in the history of comic artist in the history of Star Wars. Of course, the one who did the very first concept art with Lucas back in the 70s. Obviously, why am I blanking on his name?
Oh Lord,
Tom Young.
No,
Ralph McQuarrie.
That's
McQuarrie. Yeah, McQuarrie. He's obviously, I think, the one who's had the most influence, like the single artist who has influenced most. But as far as like comic book artists, I don't think there's anyone else who has even come close to rivaling Duursema in their breadth of field and how many like different eras and districts and things they have touched.
Wow, that's quite the claim.
The
most influential comics artist in the history of Star Wars. Are we gonna give her that title? Like, get one of those moisture evaporator trophies and send it her way.
I was about to say, like, when you think that word, like most influential comic artist, is there anyone else who jumps to your mind?
No.
See, my problem is my viewpoint is so like heavily in canon, and
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know if ask me again in like 5 years when some of like the big hitters that are like really doing well right now have
like
had more
Phil
time.
Noto.
The thing with Phil Noto's never he did like half of the Poe Dameron series, but he hasn't been doing interior art that much is the thing. But of course, he has a great impact on the fact that he did a lot of concept art for the High Republic, and he's been still doing a lot of cover art, but his interior art has not been like super. He's not as prolific, obviously, as like a Duursema. But this does give me another idea for a show, so stay tuned in like 2 months when I run out of ideas. So, but yeah, no, I think she's definitely like, I would say inarguably top 5. Probably top 3. I just don't know if anyone. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that would be up there with her right now.
Who's the main artist on the original Marvel series? Is it Al Williamson?
I think they changed it a few times. No, they changed the writers a few times in the early one, but I think that sounds right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's iconic in its own way. I've got a puzzle of all that comics art over there hanging on my wall, so I don't have any Duursema puzzles, though I would like one.
I said, I feel like that was iconic, but I also feel like that was in a period where like comics were treated as their own thing. So I don't feel like Lucas or Lucasfilms or anyone like took reference for what was happening in the comics to like take into and do like influence what they were doing in other projects. So it was very
Boba
good.
Fett?
I thought he was first from the animated series though.
Yeah, who's
maybe?
Yeah.
We're showing our ignorance here on our own podcast. Oh no.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, Boba Fett was first in the holiday special.
Yeah, I saw the because I know it was like issue 37 or whatever. It was like very similar time period, but
yeah, I think we did actually talk.
But anyways,
about that
I did look it up. The artist for the very first Star Wars comic book is Howard Chaykin. So
yeah. What did I say?
Go.
Williamson.
Yeah. But yeah, and if you click on the main article on Wikipedia, it's just for pencilers. It just says various. So I'm sure there were many over the course. Yeah, I mean it's 107 issues. Like, what do you expect? There's gonna be a lot of different people
Duursema was in
working on
there herself for just one issue, so they probably had other like guest artists essentially.
But yeah,
come
no.
on and
Anyways, back to the main point. Definitely, I would say top 3 to top 5 area for her. As far as Star Wars artists go, I think. Modern, like in terms of modern artists, like the problem is I think a lot of the best artists that we have in modern comics just aren't doing as much as she did. Like she had the benefit of working for 4 decades, like, but
a literal like a decade and a half. Yeah,
but no,
who did the art?
John Cassaday was like the one for the like at least the Jason Aaron part of the Star Wars run in 2015. So like the first 30, 40 issues. I think up there right now in terms of like influential, you got like Will Sliney, Ario Anandito, Phil Noto, all these great artists, but they're just not doing as much work, which is fair.
They're not even living and breathing Star Wars.
Yeah, they're not just like pumping out 40 issues like it's nothing.
Tell you who else I'd like to give some honorable mentions to from the Legends universe.
Oh, please do.
Dave Dorman. Dave Dorman does a lot of really good iconic Legends covers. I'm not so sure about the interiors. I would need to Google if he's done many of the interiors. I would say the Legends like comics issue like episodes we've done of Legends Look Back, Dave Dorman comes up a lot. We reviewed a couple of books, these art books. These would be good episodes of Legends Look Back to look into if you liked this particular episode of the Cosmic Force.
I'm gonna steal your thunder, Cam Kennedy. There we go.
I was sitting on that.
There's my other one. There's my other honorable mention, Cam Kennedy, who draws.
I was sitting on that one. Like he's like definitely like probably one of the most famous comics. Don't know if we could say influential because he did that. He did a Boba Fett series, but he didn't.
It's iconic though. Is the thing.
He did is super iconic, but again, I don't feel like many people go back to those. Like the images in there and like recreate them. Like I think World Devastators did show up in a couple of like video games for a while, but like people aren't scrambling to get naked palps.
Why not?
Sad.
That's my question.
That is sad.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we covered an episode of fairly recently, maybe 6 months ago. Who knows? Episode of Legends Look Back. These art of books. We talked about like these books that showcase Star Wars comics art. They're called Star Wars Panel to Panel, and there's another one just called Star Wars Comics. Very original name. Panel to Panel. There's expanding the universe and from the pages of Dark Horse to a galaxy far, far away. I picked these both up aftermarket. They're hard to find. Got Ayla Secura on the cover of this one. Each page is just featuring legendary Star Wars comics art on the interiors. Got some Knights of the Old Republic here. So great way to get your hands on like oversized, blown up covers of some classic Dark Horse Legends comics. We got some Ayla Secura and Quinlan Voss on this one. So these would be fun to check out if you have liked this. But yeah, you got to get a couple of Legends honorable mentions.
Go. Anything else we want to talk about with our I guess our oh boy, words have escaped me. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Anything else
the lady of the
tonight?
hour.
Yeah.
I think I am excited that we're starting to see her come back and we're starting to get some references to her and like doing variant covers. I think she has definitely paid her time, and I think like as far as I'm concerned, I think that title belongs to her. I think she's probably the most influential comic book artist of Star Wars like at the moment. Things will change in 10 20 years and that's fine, but as it stands I think she has touched so much mediums and art forms and things like that. I think I think it's very important that we remember her name, as it were. Like she will go down for a long time.
Definitely deserves a whole highlight episode of our flagship Star Wars comics show, which is one of my very favorite podcasts of anything that's out right now. Love the Cosmic Force, big fan. Glad to be here. And so very grateful you guys have given the Legends spotlight here to a Legends grade. I'd like to see her do more in current canon comics. The fact that there has been an increase in her getting some jobs here with these variant covers of some High Republic and on this Life Day thing too, the milk mustache notwithstanding. Very excited to see, is this an open door? Is more happening here? Interested to get some more flowy Jedi robes.
Absolutely. Well, one thing we do need to touch on, which is amazing, speaking of how influential she is, there are several like high up Star Wars like influencers, creators that have made appearances in canon, and she of course is one of them. She was brought into the world of Star Wars in the Story of General Grievous by artist Joe Corony with her own Star Wars Jedi version, Jedi Samadu. A very Star Wars name if I've ever heard one. But yeah, so we got, she's got her own character. George has like 2 or 3 characters. Pablo Hidalgo has a character, and now of course Jan Duursema also has a Jedi. So there we go. I mean, I feel like that's the mark of having made it in Star Wars, is having your own fake character named after you.
Yeah,
Or-
John Jackson Miller is pictured as a Republic pilot in the Knights of the Old Republic series. So there's that. I'm trying to think of some others. I know that Andy Gutierrez has a character named after her. From the Star Wars show. She's in what is that? Rebels.
Yeah. Oh
Goody
shoot.
Terez.
What's his name? Alex Damon. I think doesn't he have like a stormtrooper in like one of the recent like books? I think it was like in From a Certain Point of View. There's a stormtrooper with his birthday or something like that for its TK number.
Oh, I didn't know that. I bet you there's a whole episode of Star Wars Explained,
Oh,
all about
absolutely.
the history of
Yeah.
TK, whatever.
I'm trying. Oh God. Oh, it's not like a super like cameo, but like one of the heads of ILM. His face was used to do all the CG X-wings in the '90s. He's the cockpit pilot model reference for every single like X-wing pilot in the Battle of Yavin. Was
Oh, wow.
Died like 20, 30 times in that movie.
his kill to death ratio was pretty horrific in the Battle of Yavin.
Oh, I love it.
Take a team, it's not much better. But yeah, so I think it was just fun now that I put that bit in there, because now we have an idea. Like it's we now know what your Jedi name will be, which is where you just take the first initial of or syllable of your last name and put it to the end there. So all of you want to be Jedis out there, you can play it around. For instance, my Jedi name apparently would be Inak Lamb, which sounds pretty Star Wars to me.
Does it have apostrophes? That's the real question.
I guess I could put it in there.
That's a Chiss name. We're talking Jedi though. We got like a hyphen. Unfortunately, Jared and I both have single syllable last names, so there's not a whole lot we can do with that.
I did notice that. Like, I made some notes that if Tyler was here, he would be High Anti Rags, which that sounds
really
almost
good.
I
Yeah,
was about to say, sounds almost like a pod racer at that point.
yeah.
All right.
Could probably do better than Min Quadraneros, I'm guessing.
Never.
I thought he was the fastest one, though.
He also, I think he's the one that died on the starting line. So
That's it.
Yeah,
He was the fastest. He got out of he got out of that race first one out.
yeah.
There's that. We do like positivity here at Youtini. Oh my goodness. Well, guys, thanks for having me on the show. I really enjoyed being here. I'm thrilled to get to talk about Duursema, a character we've never really got the spotlight on Legends Lookback. Somebody who's done over 50 covers, has done art on over 100 Star Wars Legends issues. We've never really got the spotlight. One of these days, we'll have to have one of you guys over on our show to talk about that old school Dark Horse, Republic run.
We just had to snipe this show topic from you before you got to it, so that's really why you're here.
Absolutely.
Thrilled
Well,
to get to do so.
maybe in a couple of years you can do it again and just use the exact same show notes.
Yeah, I'll send you the
I
art.
do that with sermons from time to time.
Good idea. All right. So with that, I think we might be one of the shorter episodes here, but we gotta keep things moving. So with that, this week's episode of The Cosmic Force is done. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. But if not, do still subscribe and like on your podcast app. We are live usually every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. So come in and tune in to see us live. Also, be sure to visit Youtini.com for news, articles, and reviews for the entire expanded universe. We encourage you to join our Youtini Discord community by going to Youtini.com/Discord. And if you want to help support the show, head over to Patreon.com/Youtini and start receiving exclusive perks starting at just $5 a month. We want to take a special thank you for OK Indar, Cheryl Bell, Patrick Ortiz, Carl Sander, and Earl Q on our Jedi High Council. Also, Kyle Hickman, Elizabeth Cloutier, Jason Mitchell, Freddie C., and Sally and Chris Eilerstein on our Alliance High Command for their amazing and continued support. You can tweet at the show at Cosmic Force Show or at the hosts individually. I am at Caleb Laminack, Jacob is at Jacob Osh, and Jared is at Jared Q Mays. Thanks again to Jacob and Jared for hosting with me. As a special thank you to our listeners joining us, we really appreciate you tuning in and commenting all the time. See you next week, and may the Force be with you.